My name is Harry, and I'm from London.
Meghan Markle here.
Today is August 8th, 2024. It is 2:13 a.m. I got up around, I'll say 11 p.m. and I was taking my time because I already knew I had a list set up to share with you. And when I got to the computer, like maybe 12:30-ish, I didn't see the file. The file is gone. So now I had to go over Twitter to make a brand new list, and I was a little bit upset about that. So this is what I have here. I might have two videos today, and the first one, the one that I'm talking in right now, will be focusing on the UK, because I came across some tweets from the UK and someone sent me a video which I want to share with you. And then the second video might have two parts to it, because there's a video regarding Rachel Maddow here that I don't know, it's a bit long, probably 7 minutes I think. So who knows what I'm gonna say. I don't know what I'm gonna say, but I haven't watched the video yet. But it has to do with the Trump and things like that. Yeah, so I might have two parts to video 2, and I'm gonna go on vacation by the end of this month, so I need as many content to schedule for you. Now, this is my background. I realized that yesterday I have some new subscribers, and for those who are new, what I tend to focus on is mostly focusing on tweets. Okay, go on Twitter, search for news, things that are being discussed. Typically, okay, it's regarding Harry and Meghan that I share with my supporters who are not on Twitter. So if you are new and you realize that I'm jumping from one topic to another and you may not into all of that, so this channel is not for you. Okay, and I tend to talk about politics here, my opinion. I'm not an expert on anything. Okay, I'm not an expert on anything, but I tend to throw in my opinion here and there on what I think, how I feel, whatever. Okay, so if you're looking for one specific topic or bashing or whatever, this channel may not be for you. All right, so the main focus on this channel is Harry and Meghan, but I tend to talk about politics. I did say recently on my community, but I'm not going to talk about politics. That was before Joe Biden stepped aside and no longer running. There were a lot of negativity that was being talked about or discussed on Twitter. So I felt like that's not the energy that I want to focus on. So I told my supporters, I'm not going to be talking about politics. Now the dynamic of things shift. It changed a little bit. So I'll be talking about politics. I tend to talk a lot about what's going on in the UK because the connection of Harry and Meghan. Okay, I tend to share the background of my channel because there's some stuff that doesn't look good, the suppression of my channel. So instead of explaining, I just show the background, how much I'm making and everything. Okay, so my channel is growing. My estimate revenue remains stuck, and it seems like, okay, I do not know, but it seems like every month, instead of showing me somewhat close to the actual number that I'm getting, it seems like whoever's controlling YouTube thing, they'll be like, oh, this month let's just give her this, let's give her this amount, instead of what the channel is actually generating. I don't care if my channel was generating $50. At least I want to see it, but don't manipulate the system. Okay, so that's that. Estimate revenue $123.01. Analytics, come on, Okay, 2,337 views. That's regarding the short video that I put, so that's why it, the view sort of went up. Okay, I have 107 subscribers that added to the channel. Okay, so with that being said, let's go on Twitter. I'm already 5 minutes. Okay, so this is probably gonna be on second video. I just saw it and I added. It's so creepy. I may not even share it at all. Okay, so this is the first video. This is something someone sent to me, and I wanted to share it with you, and thank you for sharing it with me, for sending it. Okay, there's the UK flag. Who's that? Okay, Ben Smith, editor-in-chief, former New York Times media columnist, BuzzFeed News. Okay, so I see where his background is. Okay, I already listened to the video already, so I want to share it with you. Okay, so he is breaking down the British invasion of American newsroom. Listen to mixed signal from Semaphore Media. I'm just gonna focus on what is being said here. Are there any comments? So there are some comments, so I probably will go over the comments.
What's happening in the biggest picture way, and it's happening in different ways at different publications, is that they built huge businesses and brands during the sort of peak of the high attention Trump years by promising to stand for democracy, by saying that democracy dies in the dark, which the Washington Post changed its slogan to. And what you're seeing now is the proprietors of news organizations looking around and saying, and I think I'll talk specifically about the Washington Post here, we're losing $70 million a year. People aren't really reading us. This Trump.
Okay, for the Washington Post part, I've talked about it a lot on some past videos regarding Will Lewis and Byline, which is a UK-based, somewhat reasonable newspaper. They're just starting to, I believe now they are, I think they're doing subscription. I'm not 100% sure, but Byline News. So they talk about what's going on with Murdoch and Will Lewis. Okay, so I have some videos regarding that. Okay, I'm moving it back completely. Let's start all over.
What's happening in the biggest picture way, and it's happening in different ways at different publications, is that they built huge businesses and brands during the sort of peak of the high attention Trump years by promising to stand for democracy, by saying that democracy dies in the dark, which the Washington Post changed its slogan to. And what you're seeing now is the proprietors of news organizations looking around and saying, and I think I'll talk specifically about the Washington Post here, we're losing $70 million a year. People aren't really reading us. This Trump bump thing is over. The cultural mood has changed a bit away from that kind of confrontation. If you are a news proprietor in that situation, so those are the people making the decisions, the owners, Rupert Murdoch, who owns the Wall Street Journal, what do? Well, first you try to get your high-minded American editors to change course, have more fun, stop pontificating about democracy and stories nobody will read. And then when that doesn't work, you bring in a British person who comes from a totally different media tradition.
Okay. So one of the things that I've said is that it's very hard for people to understand the foundation of things. They ease themselves in a little bit at a time. A lot of British news type of people have been in the US market system already. Many of them have been CEOs of ABC News. I think they were testing the waters. So as soon as, testing the waters and learning how they could manipulate the US system. So when Trump became president, and you saw, I have past videos where people who used to work with him or for him left because Trump was breaking the law and they didn't want any part of that. And I have one video in specific that I'm talking about. Is a young man who was talking about when Trump said something like, come next his re-election, you don't have to worry about it, everything will change and stuff like that.
I'm Miles Taylor. I served as the Chief of Staff of the Department of Homeland Security under the Donald Trump administration. I would go into the office, I would read my intelligence brief, and then it was my job to help the Department of Homeland Security to keep our country safe. What we saw week in and week out, and for me after 2.5 years in that administration, was terrifying. We would go in to try to talk to him about a pressing national security issue, cyber attack, terrorism threat. He wasn't interested in those things. To him, they weren't priorities. The president wanted to exploit the Department of Homeland Security for his own political purposes and to fuel his own agenda. the California wildfires. On a phone call with the Federal Emergency Management Agency, he told FEMA to cut off the money and to no longer give individual assistance to California. He told us to stop giving money to people whose houses had burned down from a wildfire because he was so rageful that people in the state of California didn't support him and that politically it wasn't a base for him. The policies at the border, he wanted to restart zero tolerance and separate families. He said he wanted to go further and have a deliberate policy of ripping children away from their parents to show those parents that they shouldn't come to the border in the first place. A lot of the time, the things he wanted to do not only were impossible, but in many cases illegal. He didn't want us to tell him it was illegal anymore because he knew that there were, and these were his words, he knew that he had magical authorities. He was one of the most unfocused and undisciplined senior executives I've ever encountered. I came away completely convinced based on firsthand experience that the president was ill-equipped and wouldn't become equipped to do his job effectively, and what's worse, was actively doing damage to our security. People who are still serving in this administration have said to me, just wait until the second term. It'll be no holds barred, it'll be shock and awe. We'll do what we want. Given what I've experienced in the administration, I have to support Joe Biden for president. And even though I'm not a Democrat, even though I disagree on key issues, I'm confident that Joe Biden will protect the country. And I'm confident he won't make the same mistakes as this president.
So he already knew, Trump already knew he was gonna seize power. So now that they have Trump in there, who already have the mindset of a dictatorship, so they were gonna try, they were like, okay, we're gonna help you. They bring in their people to blind the vast, okay, like the Will Lewis. They come in, instead of telling the news, they just gonna, entertainment type of thing. Bojo's sister already gave us a hint, saying the U.S. and France type of news are not entertaining.
We're going to see some sort of state regulation of the press. I genuinely hope not. I don't want the press to be in the last chance saloon at all. I want to see newspapers thrive. This is my industry, and I think it's in all our interests that we have a thrive. And we've got the most wonderful newspapers in the world in this country. You read the newspapers in the States or in France, they're very dull. They're not entertaining at all. I think that we can have both a serious and an entertaining press. And that's what I want to see survive. I don't want to see Prince Harry destroy the industry I love.
So they were gonna come in here, which they did already, to blind American. So when Trump is doing his unethical type of behavior practices in the background, where newspapers will be telling us what is going on. This is why they have press conference at the White House and things like that to let us know what's going on and things like that. So now they were gonna blind us completely. Okay? So that's one of the things. I've said so many things in the past about that. They all add up to this now. Okay? So let me see what some people are saying here. Thanks to at X, the old newsroom will disappear. At Community Note will be the editorial board. Thanks at Elon Musk. Okay. Another word, what this person is saying, X, which is Twitter, okay, where pretty much news will disappear. You'll be seeing some crazy stuff being posted. Even Elon Musk himself be posting some stupid thing. I don't follow him, but people will bring screenshot and then share it. And that's how I know some of the crazy thing he be saying. And community notes is like when they sometimes correct certain things that was posted, and that would be the editorial things. Okay, and then he's saying thank you, Elon Musk. I watched Tommy Robinson documentary this morning, and the first 10 minutes, Piers Morgan went from somebody I despise, obviously some form of Mockingbird media funded by MI6, and now I want this cover. Journal liar deported immediately. The U.S. should no longer allow such. Okay, what is it? Piers Morgan could be Oh my God, where was I? Okay, the US should no longer allow such destructive people to enter our country. So this is the beauty of our democracy. This is what you feel, because now you see the unethical thing that was going on. But so many minds are so weak. They didn't just come out like that and be what you are seeing now. There are many well-minded Americans who have been warning us, because the thing that they were warning us were so geeky type of the way they were telling us. They're telling us the truth, the hard truth, but we don't like the hard truth. We like things to be somewhat sensationalized. This is what's good with the UK. They are good with psychology. Many people do not want to hear the hard truth. When they hear the hard truth, they get offended, they get upset. Instead of take it back. It could be very upsetting when people tell you the hard truth, especially if you don't like it. It could be very upsetting. Instead, take a moment, reflect on what was said to you, and how can you change for the better or for the worse, whatever. But so many people have been telling us this type of thing. We have Ed Schultz, for instance, may he rest in peace, and so many other people who have been telling us this type of thing. But the Republican manipulate us. There was a time, for instance, in the US where the GOP were for veterans, and they do all of this, and they do funds for the veterans. I don't know. There's so many groups out there. I used to see the commercials and all of that. They manipulate you to make you feel like you're part of them, but instead they were easing you into the self-destruction. So the beauty of our democracy, just because all of a sudden you see the light and then all of a sudden you should act like a dictator and push them out. No, it cannot be done like that. There's a freaking election that's coming this November. We need to go out and vote. If you don't like the direction the country is going, go out and vote, and then come together. And how can we stop this? I came across another video a while back, could have been yesterday or the day before. I believe these people were Switzerland, and they were saying, oh, Trump should not be running. As much as I agree with them, okay, you have a felon who committed so many other crimes who have been proven, should not have that right to run for office. But that's not what's in the books. So as much as we hate what Trump is doing, but he is open a lot of doors for what needs to be fixed. So in order for these things to be fixed, your ass have to be at the voting booth and vote the right way, and then come together and make the change. This is how democracy is supposed to work. Okay, just because all of a sudden you see the light, you don't like how it's going, when years prior they've been warning you to put a stop to it. But no, you are part of. I'm sorry, I'm not saying this person is part of it. I'm not saying you. Just in general, many of us were part of it. We were okay with it. But now when you realize it's a self-destruction type of thing, all of a sudden you want them out. That's not how democracy works. And then the same thing with gun control. This is another version of that as well. For years, people have been telling you, telling us. Again, this is not this person I'm speaking specifically. His tweet making me feel what I'm explaining to you here. Okay? So for so many years, you have countless of deaths, children dying, so many examples, and you have well-minded people coming and said we need to do something about it. But the Republican who don't mind you self-destruct, instead, glorified it, make it seem like it's okay. But meanwhile, there's so many parents who probably still to this day, they still mourning their kids. You can fathom the fact that a parent had just lost a child because it wasn't you. How can you? So many of us don't have empathy to empathize with somebody else's pain, but instead, because it wasn't you, you don't have no feeling, no emotion. No, we keep on going. That little switch, putting yourself in somebody else's shoes, you could Many people could not even do that to make the proper change that needs to be done. There's so many other things that's going on in the US. We've been warned countless over and over and over again, but instead the Republican glorified making it fun, show the beauty of it, instead of you take a step back, look at what just happened, reflect. There's someone who just died, or someone just got hurt. What if it is me? How will I feel? Okay, this is the step back and reflect that needs to be done in so many Americans. And then rationalize your understanding of what just happened, and then put a law in place to prevent it. And then all of a sudden, eventually things will change. Then it's, as much as I've been saying about the UK needs psychology and things like that, the US needs some sort of teaching of empathy and understanding. Maybe the entire world need that. But anyway, let me finish this thing here. Piers Morgan could be credibly accused of being white, anti-white racist. A truly important expose if you want to know why England is revolting against their enslavement. Watch it. Okay, so that's that. I'm not gonna watch his thing. All right. Okay, few more. I keep hoping that we will have byline times come to America, and to some real journalism, we are more interesting in that than all the outrage forming and MAGA fear mongering. As much as I like byline times, I will encourage people to read byline time. I do not want them to come in the US, because the structure in the UK needs to be changed. They need to focus in the UK, because the UK needs some major change, major change. So if byline is the light that will start pushing that, so they need to harness that and focus it in the UK. And by the way, the US type of journalism, it's good. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just that the people from the UK who are corrupt are coming here to destroy it. What we have here is pretty good. Based on some of the things that I read regarding Washington Post, many of the journalists don't want to do what Will Lewis want him to do. So what we have here is pretty good. And the people, the real journalists, wants to follow that same code of ethic. So byline, as much as I like it, it'll be good here. If they have the extra hands to spread it, that would be good. I'm not denying them or anything like that. But right now the UK needs it the most to shed light on what's really happening, because the UK right now, the vast majority of newspapers, if you call them newspapers, tabloid, have already pretty much take over the country. So the UK needs that light that byline is providing to help shape, open people's eyes, because the system in the UK have already been corrupt. So they need the light. As much as right now, we're on the verge in the US of losing what we have. So we're pretty good in comparison to the UK. But this year, this November, we need to fight hard to keep what we have. What we have here is pretty good, because the group that wants to take over, who wants to keep us in the dark, are trying to take the remove the structure, the system that we have here, and then put us in the dark, just like the UK is right now. So what we have here so far, it's working. It's just that the bad guys who wants to take over power wants to destroy it. So we do not have any problem. I mean, right now, yes, we do, because they've already taken mainstream media. You have news outlets are not really showing what should be showing. So we need to fix what we have. We're not that bad in the same gutter as the UK is. So we okay, but we just need to fix what those people are trying to break. We are on the brink of losing it. I hope I'm explaining it correctly. But I think we are in a much better place than the UK. But if we win this November, we need to fix it because they've already corrupt some of the things we already have. Okay, so there's that. I don't know what's that. Semaphore, LOL. Do not know this guy, but it seems like he may be the problem of state-controlled media outlet, but he is trying to fix it with different slang on same state propaganda. Citizens see through garbage and want truth until mainstream media start to be real journalism. Nobody will read and listen. He's telling the truth. I've been seeing this. I mean, many of these things don't come out of nowhere and poof, and you have this extremism. They ease themselves into us, into our kind of system. Alright, so that's that. Let's leave that alone. I spent too much time on this one. Alright, next tweet. And thanks to the squaddy who tagged me on this post, okay? Alright, he want an update. Oh, wait a second. Did I skip something? Oh, maybe not. Okay, he wants an update on when he can safely come back to his palace from his other palace and not have to comment on the situation. Okay, so that's a retweet here. Breaking from Sky News. Breaking: King Charles has asked for daily updates on protests. Sky News understands. Okay, ask for updates but remain silent. Such a pathetic man and king. What was it? Then one of my comments, I think I blocked this person. I like this GIF. Where someone was telling me to focus on the US, leave the UK alone or whatever. As much as we want to keep on minding our own business, but the UK, I've always said evil originated in the UK, and it's showing me every day that that the UK, well, not every Brits, okay, because by the end of this video I will show you the difference of what the turn of events. Not every Brits are the same, but the core, the people's running the UK, you know, the same branch from wherever it originated, well, it originated from evil. They have evil mindset. When you look at what happened around the globe, they don't want to spread it. And I think what just happened this past week, I think it was a way to somewhat show the US. I hate to say this, but this is what I'm seeing. What just happened in the UK with the riot, and they have that group, by the way, and so many things is popping up in my mind. They have their groups when they send the signal to act upon it. They have their groups for that. And at the same time, some people in the UK who've been paying attention, like the byline type of people, should follow up on those people they arrest. Because we want to know if this thing just gonna evaporate. They put it out there and then all of a sudden they evaporate. Byline should follow up, or whoever is interested should follow up on those people who were arrested during the rioting, put burning stuff. And there's this guy, may God help him get another car, and he's helping. I didn't put it on on my list to share with you. This guy who's helping, I guess, some needy people. The rioters flip his car and burn it. Now, can he attend to help these people? I don't think so. So I don't know who's gonna help him get another car, but his car is trashed now, literally burned. He didn't even recognize his own car. So they should follow up and see how the arrest and the sentencing and what happened next and all of that, because those people who's stirring the pot, that's how I call it, stirring the pot, they have connection. Okay, you have that so many people in the Charles circle, priests, and who've done so many evil stuff. You know, there's no charges that come to them. So, and the video that I said yesterday, and I said everyone needs to, I don't know, I'm thinking of police right now, because many of them tend to take a few bucks on the side to cause major damages. They need to focus on their work. How do they want the country to move forward? Because a few bucks is not gonna help you sustain yourself for the rest of your life. But if you do the right thing and do the right thing during your service, when you in duty, that's the word, in duty, and do what is right instead of trying to get some money under the table, your future might be much brighter if you focus on your work instead of a few bucks under the table, this type of thing. So why did I talk about all of this? King Charles. Without people, in different places. The person who commented on my video, or could have been on my community board, telling me stop focusing on in the UK and this and that. We have issues in the US. Yeah, I could work and chew gum at the same time. I already know who I'm gonna vote. Okay, I'm just waiting for November 5th, and I'm set. But do the rest of the country knows which way to go, which way they're gonna vote? I'm set already. I don't care who Biden or Kamala was gonna run with. Okay, I was already set. All I know is I do not want any Republicans. Okay, but for telling me stop focusing on the UK need to mind its own business and stop inserting and bringing their trash people over here to dismantle our democracy. If they weren't doing that, I think I will mind my own business. But I see the nonsense that's happening. I'm trying my best and my non-professional way explain to some people what I'm seeing. So which means you don't like what I'm hearing, don't watch my thing, or go open your own channel and explain your own things, your viewpoint. Okay, so this is Sky News here. King Charles has asked for daily updates on protests. Sky News understand. Okay, I see you, King Chuck. No statement, but somehow you're concerned. Okay, Sky News understand. And the other thing that popped up in my mind, okay, about the stirring the pot thing. It was by design with the riot and all of this. Remember, it could have been leading to the summer, or maybe in the middle of the summer, I'm not sure, but I think it was leading in spring, coming into the summer, where they said the royal family will be on breaks or vacation or whatever. They're gonna take a couple weeks off or whatever. But you see William showing up in different, whatever events he's interested in and stuff like that. But they can start the stirring the pot. They can start giving the signal to their henchmen, to start doing their crazy things. Okay, so they waited until he or whoever the royal family is gonna enjoy certain things. They waited until they finish, but they were preparing already, saying that they're gonna take a couple weeks vacation. They don't have anything on the books or something. It's on some of my old videos. They're there somewhere. Okay, whatever I'm talking about, it's somewhere in some of my videos. So they knew they were gonna start the riot. They knew there was something that was bugging them, especially now I remember perfectly, leading to July 4th election. That's the time frame. You could go to some of the videos around that time. I don't know which one. Leading to the July 4th election, they were saying that the royal family will not be doing any engagement. They're gonna take a couple weeks off or whatever. But every now and then, leading to that, you were seeing William popping up to different events. Okay, I think there was a football match or something like that, and there's some things that he did. I don't remember what it was. I don't think I shared it, but if I did, it's somewhere around that time. So leading to July 4th election, so I'm guessing they knew they were gonna lose, and they knew what they were gonna do next if they were not in power. So when they realized they lost the election, a lot of Tories lost the election. So now they were preparing how they're gonna start something, because now all the BS they've been doing in office, okay, have been uncovered. And there's one video where this I don't know her position, I think she's a member of parliament, went on the floor and explained about the Rwanda scheme, how much money were being wasted just to send 4 people to Rwanda. Okay, detain people and then let them go, pretend you're doing something. Okay, all these are they are acting, but at the same time they're stealing the people's money. Okay, it was a couple $1 billion more they were gonna, I think she said 10 billion or something like that. So they knew that scheme was gonna uncover. As soon as I came across that video, next thing I know, there's the riot. Okay, so people need to tell me how these kids who got killed started? What were the originate thing? Don't just tell me some people killed a child or whatever. Yes, may those kids rest in peace. They didn't deserve it. But from my understanding, the way the system in the UK is, every single human being in the UK, as long you're not in the upper social class, you are disposable to them, including those who's causing the riot. Okay, they don't care who. As long you're not in their social class, you just look what's happening in the Middle East. They don't care. Similar to that, you have babies, all sort of things. They do not care. So how did those kids get killed? How did it start? What caused it? Okay, so people need. The minute I heard about that, and my mind went to plug everything together, and I was like, that they uncovered their BS. They cannot just take the money like that. You had the during COVID, the mask, but they create a business that has to do with medical when these people have no background in medical at all. Okay, to take money for, what's the name of those things, to put the mask on. I don't know how this went about. So they were there they came to rob the country. That's pretty much it. They came to rob the country. Okay, now that they uncovered who in the right position of power to do the right thing. This is where we at in the UK. Meanwhile, they disrupting you with the riot and all of that. Okay, so I think I talk enough. Okay, I see you, Chuck. No statement. But somehow you're concerned. Sky News understand. Stop, please. Let me go and find my eyeballs, which have rolled off. The riot started last month. Where has one been? Okay. So, like Harry said, these people are trapped. All right. So they want Charles to be where he's at, pampered, be protected, and then as soon as they caught those people who's stealing the money, caught them. Okay. When real people who's there to serve the country catch them now, so Chuck will excuse them. That's all it is.
Mr. Speaker, let me return to the Rwanda Migration and Economic Development Partnership. So 2.5 years after the previous government launched it, I can report it has already cost the British taxpayer £700 million. In order to send just 4 volunteers. Those costs include £290 million payments to Rwanda, chartering flights that never took off, detaining hundreds of people and then releasing them, and paying for more than 1,000 civil servants to work on the scheme. A scheme to send 4 people. It is the most shocking waste of taxpayers' money I have ever seen. Looking forward, the costs are set to get worse. Even if the scheme had ever got going, it's clear it would only cover a minority of arrivals. Yet a substantial portion of future costs were fixed costs. For example, the annual direct payments to Rwanda, the contracts for escorts, the staffing in the Home Office, the detention and reception centres, and more. So the taxpayer would still have to pay out no matter how few people were relocated. And most shocking of all, over the 6 years of the Migration and Economic Development Partnership forecast, the previous government had planned to spend over £10 billion of taxpayers' money on the scheme. They did not tell Parliament that. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the Rwandan government for working with the UK in good faith, because the failure for this policy lies with the previous UK government. It has been a costly con, and the taxpayer has had to pay the price. And the taxpayer has had to pay the price. And the taxpayer has had to pay the price.
That's all it is. I've seen enough over there. The past couple of years since this been bugging Meghan. Otherwise, I will not give 2 cents about what's going on over there. But since they went after our sis, in my eyes, I have to look what the hell is going on over there. And then I find more than I can bargain for. All right, next tweet. So instead of your king calling for calm, he asks to get daily updates. What exactly is that going to know? Why does he need to be informed daily that people are being terrorized? What's he gonna do? Ride in on his gold carriage and wow everyone into submission? It makes him look pampered. This is what I just said. They just want to make sure he's protected, he's well off. You don't have to worry about everything. We'll protect you and all of that. Meanwhile, let me steal the people's money. And then if I get caught, you forgive us. Or we're gonna tell all your dirty secret. That's pretty much that. Okay, it makes him look pampered. Does he not have TV? Can't read a newspaper? Forget the newspaper in the UK. They probably create a special newspaper for him. Just look, when it's pouring rain, there's thunderstorm. Oh, it's sunny and people's going to the beach and all of that. Why is he wasting someone's time when he can access this information by himself? Okay, it gives him cover by pretending he's doing something when in fact all he's doing is wasting people's time. What is it? The other day, someone asked me in the comment section on my community board what Chuck is doing, and I came across a tweet that said he was playing something. He was somewhere playing, enjoying himself. All right, so he doesn't care. Alright, I don't understand what he's waiting for. Never mind. He's waiting to find the most affected community to show up for publicity by pretending he cares. I don't know. Let's see how the people respond after that, especially the black communities. Okay, so there's some people were showing the video when this black lady was screaming and doing all sort of things, so excited to see. I think it was either Charles or William, one of them. And then now you tell us if she's still alive with the nonsense that's going on in the UK. Okay, King Charles couldn't even be bothered to make a public statement when white nationalists were arrested for threatening to kill his grandson. I'm supposed to believe he cares about the racism and threats hurled at other people of color, though. Exactly. He's not talking to you. He's talking to those gullible enough to believe him. Getting daily updates on their suffering is the best he can do. So when he shows up in their community as a publicity stunt, they'll be there with bells on singing his praise. Okay, that headline sounds exactly like the job they do, which is ask for updates on projects, keep learning about them, and say they are getting good results without specifying what the results are. Rent and repeat this 1,000 times. Okay, after everything comes down, the king will visit somewhere with lots of brown blacks, and those people will be all over. Thank you. This is exactly what I was saying. Will be all over him, thanking him for coming to their community. Nothing will change in this country as they love their royal colonizer. Exactly. Alright, you know, King Charles III need his special me time every year from May to September to hide out in Scotland. And I think that's where he's at right now. Alright, next tweet. I don't know. Sometimes when you live in the situation, you don't see it. It's when you step back, you realize the nonsense. I don't know. I hope some people in the UK realize it. Okay, so there's this here. These people deserve hell on earth. That's a retweet. There's no comment on that, so let's go into it. Pause. GBNews Bev Turner described a rally organized by far-right bad actor Tommy Robinson, ultimately leading to his arrest on terrorist ground as peaceful and lovely. At least 9 were arrested for assault, criminal damage, and racially aggravated public order offenses. Alright, so this is where those arrests, people need to follow. What happened to the arrests after that? People need to follow up. That's what I care about. Are they just gonna disappear under the sun and nobody knows what happened to them? Alright, are they getting any jail time or how long they're in jail or something? Alright, so let's listen.
And I remind you, there was that big patriotic gathering in central London. Was it last week or the week before? And a certain Mr. Tommy Robinson was there, and I know he's very divisive on this topic, but that was a peaceful event. It was lovely. I mean, there was just flags and gospel singers and little old ladies knitting and eating drinking tea out of flasks. And
don't forget, we've had gospel singers driven off the streets by the police.
And that was depicted by some of the media as a far-right protest. We've got to distinguish between people who just believe in this country and values and want to celebrate that and keep that alive, and people who go out chucking bricks at police officers. Very, very different. And I remind you, there was that big...
Okay, I have nothing to say of what they say. They just baggage forgot, that's all. Never understood why Turner got the gig at GBNews. She clearly has a different definition then. Alright, so what is that here? This was the scene during Tammy's lovely rally as reported by GBNews. Afterwards, they all had a spiffing midnight feast of steak bake loaded from Greg's, corns, cream cakes, and lashing of ginger beer. I don't know. I love this image. I don't know. Some people just don't like peace and quiet. This is so lovely. This would be a town I would love to be in, to live in. This is the image they give you, but meanwhile they terrorize people. So let's black this. Okay, there's this. But James Cracknell is breathing a huge sigh of relief right now. Who's James Cracknell? I don't know who he is. What is the woman talking about? Why does she feel the need to take her granddad and to work with her? Granddad to work with her? Can she find a carer for him? It must be a full-time job for Bev Turner, believing her own BS. At some point, when those gullibles, they fueling, when they stop and turn around and look back at them, we just have to let them be. Sometimes the table needs to be turned. They're spewing it because it's not them, and they are attacking. Alright, next tweet. I have no words. This is how they describe people saving lives in UK. Okay, so that's a screenshot. Sunderland Global Media. Hospital source, quote, the dialysis unit at Sunderland and other outpatient treatment units are closing their doors early today. They're binding all patient appointment times forward and closing earlier than usual and getting all patient in for treatment and back out ASAP until... Let's see. Okay, so that's just the screenshot. So there's a retweet here. You let your whole system get infested with non-UK cockroaches. An ounce of prevention. Okay, so there's some comment here. Heartbreak, that's an ad. Remember, it all starts at the top. The behavior and language was modeled. That's it. That's true. I agree with that. Alright, so that's that. This is my last one, and I'm gonna do another video that's gonna focus in the US. Okay, so I thought it's good to end the video with this. Okay, the good people of Britain have turned out tonight to stand up to racism. Foraged thugs want their turn up in Brighton, Bristol, or Walthamstow. They are cowards, though not as cowardly as their leader, who are sunning themselves on holiday. That's right, many of them are not even there. Okay, so there's no comment. Let's go into it. Pause again. Sheer size of the Brighton crowd. Shout out the very well balanced person on a bus stop who took my phone. Okay, so there's that 20 seconds. So it seems like these are the parts we're not hearing at all. So there seems to be a peaceful protest. In the video that I did yesterday, and I point out, how did we come when the Tories were in power? How did we come from there's the NHS and other groups coming out doing peaceful protests in mass number and mass volume on the street, and then to come out with the riot? How did we come from that? People need to stop and think. How did we come from that? When we are in disagreement, it's not about destroying properties and things like that. Don't get me wrong. It happens sometimes in every single country. But for me, I was trying to understand when the Tories were running through their nonsense, the Rwanda and all sort of things that was happening over there. But the well-minded people felt like the best way to show our disagreement was a peaceful protest. And I'm like, and then now we're having riot, people burning cars, turning cars over, kicking people. That's some I didn't even show because YouTube would not even allow it. Kicking people on the head while they're on the floor. It's like there's a group of people, they took someplace and then bring it over there and then do the damage. They send their signal and say, go do damage. It seems like. Because I just didn't understand how from one moment, massive, when I say massive, because I saw the images, you might I probably have shared some of them in some of my videos. Massive number of Brits came out and protest peacefully, and then to all of a sudden, you're doing this? Something is not right. So I think the same way the U.S. is at a pivotal moment right now, where we either choose Trump or democracy, Harris and Waltz. This is our moment. And then I think the UK just put themselves back into that moment as well. They did vote their July 4th election. The mass majority of the UK vote properly. They want a change. So with what just happened, probably just opened people's eyes to what was not seen before, because majority of people felt it was okay, it was certain group and all of that, but this probably just opened people's eyes. And then also with that riot as well, it could be a way, and the US needs to be very careful, okay, because the rest of the world is waiting for the US. So when we get to election, after election, it's going to be very, very important. Depend on how the election goes. If Trump loses, be ready. So what we are seeing in the UK, be very careful. It could replicate over here, because Trump already told us. Trump told us everything. It's not like I have a crystal ball. If he doesn't get elected, there's going to be this, there's going to be that. So who knows? He probably has his people. But the difference though, with the UK, majority well-minded elected officials and officers, police and whatever, when they're on the job, they're on the job. They're not there to get some money under the table. So many of them are very patriotic when it comes to things like that. So we might have a little buffer here. Okay? So that's just a warning. What just happened in the UK might replicate in the US, and Trump might give the signal and all of that. But let's knock on wood. We pray we don't get to that point. Okay? And every family members who have young kids, talk to your kids, mine included. Okay? So that's that. So please take a moment to subscribe. Oh, I didn't even show the video. I talk too much. It's only 20 seconds. All right? Wow. Okay, this is what I remember from during the Tories government, when there was a disagreement. They didn't like what was going on. These were the type of images that I was seeing on social media. Okay, the protest, the type of peaceful protest. This is what I was seeing. How did we come to the rioting kind of thing? And I've shared that as well. Now, this is 3. Okay? When the footballers, I think it called Euro 2020, when the UK lost the shootout, you had this guy, Rashford, who kicked the shootout, and some other players who, the riot, the upsetting and all of that, they dismantled his mural, Rashford, okay, his mural. And then later on I came across some videos. As much as I was showing the negative, I also show you the positive, which is what I'm saying here. If I come across it and I have something to say and I want to balance things out, I will share them with you. So this is the balance of it as well. With the Rashford thing, later, I would say maybe the next day or a couple days later, after they the racists destroy his mural, okay, you had people from the community came across, try to clean it up and do things to show the other side of the destruction that they did to his mural. And Rashford have been very, I spoke about him a couple times on my videos, where he's taking his own money to feed kids in the schools and stuff like that, when the government itself was taking money off of the kids' lunches and stuff like that. I've spoke about it many times. Even that lunch lady who had spoke about, where it's not for her to give, but she feel bad that she cannot give the kids food because of it's not hers, and she's just there to do a job. I'll show you what I'm talking about.
10 to 15 children a shift every day, every single day, and I'm saying you can't have that, there's no money, you know. And it's breaking my heart. You know, you see them, they're in a queue full of all their peers and other school children, and it's humiliating for them. It's so humiliating. They just look at you like, well, what am I going to eat? And it's like, I can't give you anything. I'm sorry, you know. And I'm just dreading going back to work. I'm dreading October. And to be honest, it's getting to the point where I'm just like, I don't even think I can do this job anymore. I didn't take the job on to starve children. I'm sorry, it's just, you know, it's just something has to give, and I just don't think it should be children's spirits. You know, I'm sorry, I just...
But let's finish this video. Let me start all over. Alright? Okay, so that's all. There's not that much. Okay, so no fall right then, just fall left, right on Britain. It's one Union Jack and sight. It's Brighton. There's that. Skid Row by sea. Okay, I know there's the communist flag and the crowd. What is that about? Okay, how bored must people be? Well, I'd rather have this than, you know, sending people to the hospital. Okay, so that's it. Please take a moment to subscribe, like, and share. If you want to support this channel, there's a PayPal link and a Cash App link in the description. You could donate. Those who have donated, thank you. Don't forget to check my shop. Let me go on to it. Okay, so there's my spread shop, and I did some new design. These I just did where I like to do different colors just in case, you know, some of you give you option pretty much. There's Harry Waltz 2024 here with the US flag in the background, and there's them here with the colorful one, and there's this without the sun in the back, and there's this with red, white, and blue, black and white, and there's just Kamala Harris 2024, and there's the same thing here, but the texts are all black. Okay, so go check it out, and I have some other things hopefully you like. Okay, different design, and yeah, so go help support my channel. These are ways you could help support my channel. Okay, so that's it. Thank you for watching.
It is a great privilege to be with all of you today.
You know, we ask for forgiveness, and please come back.
saw me find the love and happiness that I'd hoped for all my life. You are all in this together, and if I may speak personally, we are all in this together, because asking for help was one of the best decisions that I ever made. You will be continually amazed how life changes for the better.